So you'll be able to see me on the one side and then what I'm doing on the other side, which is exactly what I'll be able to see. I've got my palette off to the side here so I can see this, so I can do my mixes, and then my brushes and my paper towel. But past about this line here is about all I can see off my desk, so I can't see anything behind where you see this big white spot. So you'll be able to check on me watching there, and that's exactly where I'll be looking to be able to do this base. I do need some water on my palette here. So it'll just be the same process that I did with the other one, starting with a dark brown wash. Now, first thing I do is kind of locate my device underneath back here so I can see it and I can kind of see what I'm doing with the brush, tip of my brush, but I need to be able to feel it, so my pinky kind of acts as a guider there. Oh, this is... See, the other thing about this is it's 2D, not 3D. So I don't know how deep I'm going. Let's see if I can lift my brush up a little bit better. Oh no, angles. This is quite... So I might have to rotate this more just to get the right angles. Kind of rotate the model instead of the brush. I'll be able to center it a little bit better, which is kind of nice too, but that's the whole point of this exercise, because I have such a problem with drifting off cam. And the question is, should I... Well, it looks like I've already got the sides there. I didn't even realize I did that because it's so flat. It's, just twist. I feel the brush hitting this edge, so I'm gonna have to... The other thing is, it's kind of disconcerting going one way or the other. Like, it is lined up with my movements, so on the screen when I'm moving to the right, it's moving right, and so on and so forth. But I still find myself kind of like, if I want to paint here and I want to go over here, I end up kind of drifting this way a little bit first and then coming back. Not doing too bad, I don't think. I mean, this is just the base layer. But yeah, you can see there, I kind of thought I was going one way and then it turned out to be the other way. We'll see if I get used to this, is the other thing. Actually, I think I might just drop. The reflections in the paint kind of... Gray might have not have been the best color to start with, because I can't tell what's reflection. Well, I guess if I move it around, that'll help, so I know what I've missed and what I haven't. Alright, looks like I got a solid base coat done. It's so messy on the edges, because I don't realize I'm going down because it's 2D from this viewpoint for me. I'll just get all the edges, might as well. There. Coat one done. I'll be back for the next one. Alright, time for the second layer now. let it dry in between, and while it was drying I could kind of notice how patchy it was. Looks like I got it dark in one spot, not enough in another. So this one hopefully should just be a nice quick basing, just to get some of those other parts that are a little light with. I do find turning it, like the handle itself, helps a little bit more. See, I'm still drifting out, even though what I'm looking at is the screen itself. My hand can't help it. It's actually really really hot where I am today and quite dry. So my paint on my wet palette's gonna dry up pretty quick, but luckily these are actually quick to do. Painting nothing. I can't. You adjust your movement. It's kind of like you're. So what I end up doing is I end up just adjusting my movement just a little bit to the side, and it ends up like what I feel is just a little bit, but it ends up being way more than that. Oop, too high, too low, there we go. I think I got it all. Looks good enough to me. So I'll just let that dry, and so we can do the dry brushing after. So I can't tell for fully certain through the camera that it's dry, but I think it looks dry enough. So I'm going to do the dry brushing. The main problem I think I'm going to have with the dry brushing is not actually the brush itself. It's going to be it's got the long handle, and the camera's actually quite close. So if this gets shaky, I'm sorry, because it's probably because I hit the camera accidentally, because I can't see where the top of the handle is going pretty much either. So let's see if I can do it from the side, maybe. Kind of center myself up. Get rubbing. Ooh, that looks like too much. Too late now. A little bit of a heavy dry brush in this case, because I left too much paint in the bristles. But it looks like it's going on okay. Just kind of here is a little heavy. And see, this is why I didn't think dry brushing would be a problem, just because I'm already pretty wild and rough with it. You can pretty much get the whole base anyway, so this is probably the easiest point. What I'm mostly worried about will be later when I'm trying to do the brickwork. Although this one doesn't have too much, just this little bit here. Alright, looks like that first dry brush layer is good to go. So I'll add the gray to the white mix to brighten it up. And then actually get it off the brush this time, because I don't want to go too heavy. Now the question is what edges do I pick out? Obviously this one, but let's just see where my brush goes. So probably here is fine. Center up better. The other thing that's a little weird is I am so focused on the base on my monitor, as if this is what I'm painting from, that I'm probably making weird faces even though I can see myself. I'm just not realizing I'm doing it because I'm so focused on watching the monitor. Here looks like a spot. Basically the hardest part right now is telling if I'm too high or too low. It's kind of, I've got to go in and make contact with my model so I know where it is, and then I can go from there and it's not too bad. Those are just edges, but I think I got it. It looks alright. That satin is you can really tell when you're trying to paint a model and you get those reflections. Normally it doesn't matter because you're using your eyes, but when you're using those camera, when you're just using the camera, the reflections really stand out more. So I'll go back to my other brush, grab my Argrax, and get that on. Now this I think is actually going to be quite difficult because I want to do an even layer, but I have to be able to get it to the model. Let's see if going sideways helps. So we're on it there. Because I want this even, but I can't really make even brush strokes or flat brush strokes because I'm just not following the direction of the base properly. It's also hard to tell as if I'm running out of the wash on my brush. Normally you'd kind of be able to see that it's, you know, how much is, I mean I can see it on the monitor there, how much is left in my brush, but normally when you can look at it directly you kind of have a much better idea. Whereas I think because this is going to dampen everything, it's going to look like I'm painting everything, but it might just be, here I'll do these bricks too actually, it might just be wet without actually getting much pigment on it. I think in this case it'll be okay. That'll still add to the look of the base, but I'll just let that dry for now. So I think it's dried up a little bit. It looks like I may have gone a lot heavier with it than I did my other ones. So normally I did light layers because I'd be able to drag the paint exactly where I needed to, but in this case I couldn't tell how heavy it was on there. But I think it's next step is these things anyway, so it doesn't need to be completely dry, so I'll do that right now. So I think the easiest way to do these might just be to use the base as a guide, get it in the middle, and then go out from there. Just to get my base coat on there. Twisting the holder to help me see exactly the outside. So yeah, this is the interesting part here. It's because I can't see the full surface of it because it goes down. I can also see that my point is disappearing there. I think I'm getting it. Did I get that side? Close enough, maybe? Gotta be careful that I don't go too far outside. I think this one's going to be a slow and steady process more than anything, just to make sure I don't go outside the lines and I get it from all the angles. That was just one, and that took a lot of effort to try and do. Here I don't think I need to care because I've got that stonework. I think my brush is empty, so I'll reload that. Inside. No, not going in. So this is a big difference between having to watch a monitor and seeing in 3D, is you'd be able to use that depth perception to get it directly in the hole and then go out. But in this case, I think I did alright. So, in the middle and out. Almost looks like I'm putting it on thick enough that I think I missed a spot in this side. I just peeked out. I think that I'm getting it thick enough that I'll be able to do a pretty light second coat and probably not towards the edges, so I don't have to worry about it too much. And this is also good practice for me to be able to try and target. Oh look, I missed all those angles there. This is how you end up missing stuff when you're painting models. So you don't turn it towards you and then you can't see. Alright, got him. So it looks like I'm a bit short here. The other thing is these colors are a bit, I kind of gave myself a little fail-safe because these colors are so close together that if a little bit gets out, not too huge of a problem. I think I'll be able to go in between here safely. Center it up again. It's the other hard part is knowing just how much I'm pushing on my brush. So with my fingers I can kind of feel the pressure that I'm putting down on it, but as I'm watching the bristles I can see them kind of bending a little bit too much sometimes. Like I'm pushing really hard. So let's get in between there. This is probably the, or not probably, this is why I'll end up doing 2 coats, is I feel like with this one I'm just going to miss some spots. And so if I do the 2 coats, then there's a good chance that I'll get them the second time. Even if it's not a double layer, it'll work. Turn it to make sure. Looks like I missed a little bit here. Oh, that feels weird. Just that angle and holding my miniature like that. Felt weird getting that on. But I think I got it all. Looks alright. So I will just let that dry. Oh, missed the spot there maybe. Towards the bottom of the stone. Get to it! There we go. I think. No? Yes? Brute forced it. Looks like it's good now. So I'll get back to another layer once this dries. The first coat actually looks pretty solid, so I'm going to do a second one, but I'm only going to do it pretty lightly. So just a little bit watery. And I won't say too much about this because it's pretty much the exact same thing I did last time. I'm only going to do the outside. Inside gets its own in a little bit. I've got my mouse cursor right in the middle of my screen. I think I'm going to change my focus too, simply because I keep holding it closer. Trying to look at it closer. So it must be my natural response to pull it closer to the camera. So we'll just adjust the focus so that I can do that. But looks pretty good to me. So again, I'll just wait till that dries and then we'll start doing the inside. Time for a test of accuracy, because I'm doing the red in the middles. So I think if I aim this just at a V kind of to the camera, I'll be able to get this right in the middle and then not worry too much about the edges, since I'll be going over those after. Problem is, I kind of gotta get it all the way around in these big ones. Feels like that's alright. I got that one all the way around. I can't touch it! Go in! There we go. I could not tell how high I was there. I knew I was on target, but I didn't know when it was going to touch the model. Am I getting the outside on those ones? Here, let's get it. Just, uh-oh. Can I get that with my finger? I think I missed this one. And this one. Not sure if I got this one either. It doesn't look like I did. Maybe I didn't put enough red in my brown, but it's alright. Consider those base coats done for now. So this is what I think is going to be the hardest part of this whole thing. So I got to get the point on my brush, but also keep it while trying to dot the middle of the insides of these. I think once I get it on there, it'll be fine. I can stipple kind of just by moving my hand, my hand back and forth a bit. It's going to be getting it in there and keeping the point on the brush. Big one's not too bad. I think I'm getting it. Looks like I missed kind of on the inside there. And the little ones is going to be hard just to get it in. This first one's not too bad because you just have to kind of push down when you get it in there. But for the second one, obviously since it's a highlight, I don't want to go as heavy. So I'll be aiming for the middle and trying to just get the middle. Did I get it? It looks like I missed this one completely almost. Alright, I think I got it. That looks not too bad. So I'll just do the highlight with a bit more gray. So, can I get this? So I'm kind of trying to angle my brush up. Just so it's going straight down. most of this I've done kind of at an angle sideways, because it's easier to tell where it is. I think it's touching there. All right. Oop. Got the edge. All right, I think I got it. Looks like I got highlights in them at the very least. It'll be interesting to see, once I can actually see it, how well I've done some of this. Because it's hard to tell on the camera, but... Last one is just a little bit of a wash with more of the red ink in it. This one I don't think will be too hard. I just don't want it on the outside to stain those outside parts. Just get it in there. And make sure it goes everywhere on those edges. That edge too. So there we go, the middles are done. Now I just gotta get the outsides. So I think for the highlights on these, it won't be too bad if I stay parallel to them, essentially. So kind of find that line, get it around, and then stipple around it. Kind of shove the model into it there. Looks a little more rough than the normal one. It's actually a lot harder to stipple than it seems along those cascading edges. See if I can do stippling lines. I kind of feel like the paint on my brush is dry. Let's have a look. Well, the other beauty of this is that my patterns are going to be truly random, because I have no idea which way I'm going sometimes. So, if you want true random, this might be a way to do it, although I don't recommend it. So keeping the brush parallel like I am there actually worked really well, just for getting the edges. Now I feel like I can put it up to get the stippling around these smaller ones as they're a bit flatter, I think. This one not so much, but the other ones definitely. Yeah, that's not so bad. Feels like I got it pretty good, or it looks like I got it pretty good. So the true test will be adding a little bit more white to that, or not white, gray to it. And just getting some edges now, but as far as I can tell in the camera, that looks quite alright. Alright, so with this one, I just want to get kind of these top edges. And the accidental stippling is probably fine. What's funny to me is I'm still drifting off camera on some of this. I'm kind of like pulling it towards me, even though, like, you can see kind of how I end up drifting off camera is you want to pull the model towards your brush, and you do that when painting while looking at it versus even when it's on the screen like this. This is actually working far. I must have it at like the perfect angle, because this stippling is actually working out really easily for me. Yeah, not too bad at all. So last thing was another quick Argrax. I don't know why I'm opening it under the paper. Can't see what I'm doing back there regardless. Alright, so I'm gonna try and take more off my brush, because I think I got this wrong with the first layer. It's gonna be hard though, is getting this just around the edges and on the inside. See, that looks like too much already. So I'm gonna wick some out of my paper towel here. Got some on the rim. Yeah, getting between them is actually quite disorienting almost, because I'm trying to hit a valley while I can only see it in 2D. Once it's in there, it's not so bad. I can drag it, but trying to get it just in there. There we go. So last thing here will be these stones. Now I purposely chose this base because it had the least amount on them while still having some, so I'd have some of a challenge. I do want to keep that shade that I put on there between these, so this will be the most precise base layer I'll have to do, I think. However, because they're flat, it shouldn't be too impractical to do. One of the weird things about this kind of flat perspective is trying to figure out what's a stone or not. Like, is this a stone? I can't tell. Let's rotate it and see if that gives me any information. Yeah, I think the way it bumps up there, I'm okay to not get that as a stone. Then I think there is one here. Get on there. And then along this edge here. So I'm going to try and cover up most of the gray while leaving a bit of that brown. Looks alright to me. Alright. Adding more gray. So I just added a little bit more gray. Now I gotta try and get the outline of these. What's weird is I'm doing exactly the same thing that I would do when I'm painting while looking at it, is trying to bring it closer to my face for an edge highlight. So I'm bringing it closer to the camera instead. Oh. Am I not touching? There we go, I think. I don't know. Go on. Get on there. Alright. Only 6 more of those to go. So by the end here, I think the outline is just going to mess me up. So I'm just kind of adding the scratches instead, or trying to, and stippling. Because the stones are so small, you don't really need that outline. However, with the next layer, having it being a bit brighter, means I'm gonna have to try and take it a little lighter than I did the other one. And maybe I'll just stipple highlight points around a couple of them. It's really hard to tell if I'm pressing down on the mall or not because I'm trying to be so light. I don't get much pressure feedback from the brush itself. So essentially all I'm doing here is visual feedback, just knowing that the paint went down at some point because I can see it went down. Alright, in this case not my proudest stones, but almost done. Just a few glazes away. We can see what it looks like in my actual vision. So I'll pop open the gnome oil. So this one has a bit of yellow in it. Let's see if I can pick out just a couple stones. So let's say this one. And this one back here. Now I'll do some brown. Maybe This one. No one in the middle. Alright, and lastly, a bit of this red-brown. On whatever is left, which I think is just this inside one here. And this one here. Alright, let's go compare them.